Welcome to the greatest game of Jenga and Ping Pong. Did you short this morning's bear flag? Let's find out. It did look a little bit tricky, but at the end, there's only one thing that really mattered. This 60 level right here. I talked about this on my video I posted up on Sunday. And yeah, it was a long, all day long. It was as easy as long as you could have asked for. I started adding this morning at 61, 61 and a quarter. 61 and 3/4. You can see that right there. And I locked them all down at 71.75 for over $1,500 in profit across two accounts. That puts me up on the day a little bit over $3,000, which is amazing. So how did that happen? Well, very simple. That level got reclaimed, and I need to show you on a bigger scale. So follow it along with me. So I guess I was right once again. And I don't mean to say this in a bragging way or in any way that might make me seem like I know it all, because I don't know it all. But what I do want to express on this video, and what I do want to express what I'm saying, is that support and resistance works. Why? Because there's specific buyers and sellers who are doing essentially the buying and the selling, obviously, right? And now pretty much someone's always going to be in control. And currently, it's the bulls, it's the buyers. And in my personal belief, I think that essentially when the market dips, that's just bulls taking profit. It's not necessarily bears coming in to short the market, because I think that if you look at the daily, if you look at pretty much any bigger time frame chart, it will tell you that we are in a straight goddamn arrow to the moon. Like, but anyways, without getting my personal beliefs too much into the video, I just gonna try to keep it to the levels. Last week I said that we were in essentially a table tennis, if you will. We were playing a game of ping pong, and we're building the Jenga blocks so that we can continue up higher, because that's exactly what this is. I really believe that this is nothing but the greatest game of ping pong and Jenga that humans have ever assembled, because it gives us the opportunity that we have today. So talking about this video, you can see this right here, and it is very it's pretty hard for you to know that we were gonna get denied here, denied here, denied here. Like, it's very tricky to come here and be like, yeah, I can pretty much assemble an idea and buy here. And there's plenty of ways to trade this. You can trade this with bear flags, right? Like, you can argue that. Oh, whoops, let me delete that. I just want to hide everything for now. You can draw lines like this, short here, and then maybe take profit here. You could do trend lines, breaks like this. It doesn't matter how you want to view the market. That's entirely up to you. As long as you make money, good for you, right? You can see that we were making lower low, lower low, lower low. There's a lot of different ways, and more ways that people can trade the market than I can possibly ever explain, right? So, but in my opinion, there's only one thing that really matters. And if you just zoom out, because this is a 2-minute chart that I have pulled up here. If you would just zoom out and take a good look at the chart for what it is on a bigger scale, you would clearly see that this level right here from the previous level of resistance was being turned into support currently. And let me get some of the charts right here so that we can see that. All right, so I got all my drawings back. I didn't want to confuse you, but I'm gonna have to a little bit. But at the end, this is pretty simple. This is the level of resistance that I talked about on my last video I posted on Sunday, that we were basically essentially turning into support, right? Like, you can see we have many bounces from there, many multiple traps, and ultimately in the end, there's only one thing that matters right here. This is the table that we were in right now. This is the game of ping pong. We break above it, we make that high, that it's being essentially attracted. We are attracted to that high right now. We are going up there like a magnet. We get denied there, and then we start pulling back to the low of to the previous high. With this red line, I'm gonna leave that there. I know there's a lot of lines on this chart, but I don't want to delete all my lines, right? But essentially, just you need to understand two basic things. This was resistance that is now being turned into support. So this is the bottom of our table, and then the current all-time high, which is at 88, that is the top of the table, as I explained. And every time we came down here, we were essentially getting bought up. And this happened after another setup that is rinse and repeat every single time. This was the current low. Okay, I talked about this on the video last Sunday. that I did not want to see flushed, and it did flush. And every time we did flush it, look at that, boom, we squeeze right back above, gives us a nice move to the upside. Boom, we squeeze below again, we do another trap to the downside, and then boom, we squeeze right back up to the inside of the table because we do not want to sell. So essentially what we're doing is we are building at the bottom down here a Jenga block, if that makes sense. We are turning this into concrete cement, that this is support where buyers are consistently defending price. So why am I saying all this? Because I could, in theory, and this is what kind of pains me to say, I could still be long from down here with a runner, and I could be very deep in the green. And you know what I did? I bought down here. Okay, I bought here, and then I sold right when we got, I think it was 32, right here. So I bought here, and I sold here. And I did that multiple times, so this level was, it was like an ATM machine almost. I didn't play it every single time, but I mean, this is a historic kind of level that just continues to hold, right? But the idea is always the same, that in here, I don't have necessarily an edge into knowing where to buy, where to sell. If you want to sell lower lows or if you want to buy higher highs, it's very tricky. Rather, do a top-down analysis and understand that down here is a buy area. All this is a buy all day long, right? And after this trap happened today, I actually posted up on my Twitter as well, before the move even happened, that I was essentially, this was an easy day for me. I got long 61 and a quarter, as you'll see later on in the video. And then boom, we're looking for that push all the way to the highs at 88. And I could still have a runner on. Unfortunately, I took profit. I am done with today. It's a long weekend. I just want to be over and done with. But essentially, you can see that we are still coming onto the highs. And I would argue that we have probably made a bottom already now. And it kind of hurts. And that's why I always say that it hurts to be good, because I could still be long, let's say 5-10 contracts in a perfect world from down here. Like, I didn't need to take profit here. I even bought here, and I didn't need to take profit where I took profit. I could have still had it going. But that's in la la land, right? Like, that's the could have, the would have, the should have. But rather, just understand that when we squeeze out of here, it doesn't matter the next, wherever we get denied at. We're going to make that new high, right? That could be, I would say that we're going to at least hit like 56.20. So, but like, does it really matter if we go to 56.20? We could go to 56.10. We could go to 56.40. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But rather, what I do know is that we're going to rinse and repeat the same formula. We need to squeeze out of here, which I think we will. We're going to squeeze. And then essentially, we're going to have to do the same thing that we have been doing for the past maybe 2-3 weeks now with the same level. We're going to have to run up. All right, I don't know how the run up is going to look. It could be more choppy than just a straight arrow, obviously, right? But what I'm trying to get at here is that when we do have that pullback, right, this here, we can have a trap, right? We can essentially turn it into support, another trap. I don't know. Sometimes one trap is more than enough. But what I need to understand is that this area here is going to essentially become our next Jenga block that we are going to build. It's rinse and repeat. Same thing as here. And then we're going to build essentially another table to the upside where we are going to be ping-ponging potentially in this area right here. That is essentially the game that I'm trying to explain over and over again, the game of ping pong that we are currently playing in. So right here, it's not a buy, it's not a sell for me, but rather understanding how the trend works and understanding where price or how price is manipulated by smart money. That is what keeps me alive in the game and profitable. And that would keep me as well out of a lot of chop from here. Because imagine if you had shorted at 82 here, and you can see that we're in a very clear downtrend, right? Very, very clear. When we got down to the bottom of 52.10, that would have seemed very bearish looking at this chart on a 2-minute time frame. You can see that very clearly. The lower low, lower low, lower low, and then boom, the dump. Meanwhile, if you had looked at it from the bigger perspective, that 11 represented to you one of the greatest buys, essentially, that the charts have provided for us. It represented you with one of the most amazing entries looking at this in hindsight. And I bought it and I took profit here. And that's why I said it hurts to be good. So basically, that's the lesson today. I was right again. For the past 11 months, we've essentially been doing the same thing where we squeeze out of the previous resistance. You can see this right here. We squeeze whatever the high is. It could have been here, here. It doesn't matter. We squeeze and then we come back and we try to turn that level into this level of resistance into support. This time we didn't even quite test it to the bottom, right? Every single time is going to be a little bit different. But understanding how the game works, understanding how the game is played is what's going to keep you alive with the trend. You don't need to be trying to pick the tops, or you don't need to be trying to call the stock market crash. We don't need to do that. We don't need to be first. The market is going to tell us when it's ready to sell. And when it's going to sell, it's not going to sell like this. It's not. It's going to be totally different, but that's besides the point. I just wanted to leave you with that train of thought that we are going to break above that. I still continue to believe that. But hey, that's just my take on the overall market. I know it's a little bit of a long video, but I really wanted to hammer that point home that this is a game of ping pong. And we tried to burn the Jenga block support, but unfortunately, the Bears could not do it. Or should I say, the Bulls didn't want to break it down yet. So we bought it again, and smart money bought it again down there. And then up whenever they are ready, they're going to start taking profit at 56.20, potentially even higher or lower. I don't know. It doesn't matter, like I keep on saying. So I don't want to sound arrogant with the video, but again, the trend is your friend. Never forget that. And yeah, buy the dip.